Welcome to Haxby Shed. Today I'm going to do a short piece to camera about a subject that many people watching will care about, and that is getting people aware and interested in engineering, science and technology. Now, having enough engineers does not guarantee economic success, but it's certainly a problem if you don't have enough. Now, where does that problem start? Well, there has to be the jobs for those people to attract people into the industry. But there's another side to it too, and that is that engineering's often misunderstood. You know, the world thinks about engineers as people with oily hands, but also it doesn't seem that attractive to young people. And it's a kind of a problem that as you have fewer engineers, there are fewer role models, and then that promotes even a lower understanding about what the profession is. And I'm talking about this really broadly now: engineering, science and technology. So what am I doing about it? Well, for a long time, since I was a student, I've been a member of something called the Institution of Engineering and Technology. Now don't switch off now I've said that, I will explain. It sounds a mouthful, but it came out of the Institute of Electrical Engineering, and that's like the IEEE in America. But the profession merged with a number of other groups to form this wider organisation which promotes engineering, science and technology. Now there's 160,000 members worldwide. The majority of those are in the UK, but it's quite significant in India and in Hong Kong and, more widely. And it seeks to inspire people in engineering and to attract them to engineering, science and technology. And you can see, I'm wearing the t-shirt, and that's because for 7 or 8 years now I've been volunteering in my local network group within North Yorkshire, UK. So what do? Well, we get about £7,000 a year to promote engineering, science and technology at all levels. So what we do is we run a volunteer committee and we allocate that money to things like events. So if there's a particular current topic on engineering, we'll put on an event for all members of the public, because the IET is a charity. We'll offer money up for prizes. So, for a particular company, we might give a prize for the Engineer of the Year, Engineering Apprentice of the Year. We do the same for schools and for colleges, and we sponsor events locally, which are somehow broadly associated with engineering and technology. Where I live isn't particularly industrial. I live in York, UK. It's not very industrial these days. But around about us, there's a lot of industry growing up closer to the coast. A lot of renewable energy wind farms. There's a large polyhalite mine. Polyhalite is a type of fertilizer. And a whole range of investments that are now springing up nearer to the coast in places like Scarborough and Whitby. Now, if you don't live anywhere near me, you haven't got a clue what I'm talking about. I'm talking about coastal areas where tourism is a big factor, but now industry is coming back into those areas. And one of the things we do support is the Scarborough Engineering Week. Now this is an initiative by local businesses to basically put on a showcase of the jobs they have in their industry, particularly aimed at school children. So we took a stand at Scarborough Engineering Week for the last 2 years, 3 years. Well, actually we missed 2019 because of COVID. But for a long time as well, we've been sponsoring a video. We just paid for the video to be made as part of that allocation of our £7,000 we get every year. And so I'll play you a clip of us with our little stand at least, and a bit of me talking about Scarborough Engineering Week.
It's an extremely important event. I mean, I represent the Institution of Engineering and Technology, and one of our principal aims is to develop interest from young people in engineering, science and technology. And so events such as this are absolutely marvellous, bringing young people to meet the companies in the local area, to see the engineering for themselves and inspire them. Because so many children, if you say, do you want to be an engineer? Well, they don't really understand what that really is, but then they understand it's about solving problems and they get interested. And you can see all the children here and young people here interested in the displays, asking lots of questions. You say to them, have you ever thought about being an engineer or a scientist? And they go, well, I hadn't, but now I'm interested. So those are the sort of reactions that we get. And this is why we support events like this through funding and prizes and various other things. It really makes it worthwhile for us as well.
You know, these activities are all done at a very local level, but the IET runs local networks all over this country. I don't know how many there are, let's say 100. As well as the local networks that I'm involved in, the IET has direct relationships with large corporates, providing a framework to allow people to progress through their training in engineering, science and technology. They also have frameworks for small and medium enterprises, and they maintain relationships with universities and their students through something called the On-Campus programme. And On-Campus provides actual money to those student groups so that they can run their own events. And we've got a connection with York University, so that's the local network connecting to the On-Campus group at the university.
Hello everyone, so welcome to obviously Shockstock's first sort of guest speaker event. We're joined today by three engineers. We've got Paul joining us, Neil and Lewis, which is behind us, joining us virtually today.
I chose an apprenticeship. It was basically a telecommunications technician type of apprenticeship, but the organisation that I worked for would send you to university if you could do it. And that was all paid for, so all the people around me was, you know, living on custard and sleeping in cars, if they had one, and I was still paid my wages, as you would have called it then. Now back then, although it's great that the Cold War has ended and we're not going to be nuked, around that, up until about 1989, the government employed hundreds of thousands of engineers.
Also got a YouTube channel, the Hacksby Shed, isn't it?
Yeah,
come on. You couldn't advertise if you want.
And I set up this channel called Hacksby Shed. I live in Hacksby. And it's just a workshop at home where I have a lathe and various other things I have, just as a sort of oily hands hobby. But it does pretty well, for about 250,000 views. So, yeah. Anyway, you didn't need to promote that. The IET is not the only organisation that runs programmes like this, of course. We work very closely with volunteers from other professions, civil engineers, manufacturing engineers, mechanical engineers and others. And the UK government runs a programme in schools called STEM, Science, Technology, Engineering and Maths. And we get involved with that. So when STEM events are running locally, we also might go along to run events with the other engineering groups. And also, the government has a funding programme for colleges called the Institute of Technology. And basically, the government said to the colleges, bid for capital investment, and if we give it to you, tell us how many more STEM students are you going to train. Now, in this area, there's a Yorkshire and Humber Institute of Technology group, and I think there's about 8 colleges in that, and that's everything from agricultural, you know, right through to traditional straight engineering colleges. And, you know, we have some influence in that, a little bit of influence in that.
No. Get it?
So really that's the end of it. It's just a sort of window into what I do and what some of my friends do to try and promote interest and understanding right across the community, but particularly with younger people in science, engineering and technology. So I hope that was useful to you. Thank you for watching. Hacks Be Shared.